Yeah, cool. Well, happy Friday, everybody.
Happy
Welcome to the show.
Friday. Welcome.
Welcome. Happy Friday
Thanks.
to you, Pansy. Thank you for being
Happy
here.
Friday, Justin. Day before your
Yeah,
birthday.
I know. I know.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I appreciate that. This year, like people ask me, like, what are you gonna do for your birthday? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Nothing. And I'm gonna enjoy every minute of it. And I
Happy
told,
birthday.
thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I told people, I just want a couple of days to myself, uh, where I don't, nobody's asking me to do anything for them. Like, unless it's an emergency or something. But yeah, I just want a couple days to myself, just relax, do whatever the heck I want to do. And that's the best gift you can give me. And so, okay. But we are going out to dinner tomorrow night, for a little bit, so that'll be fun. But
Well,
I
that's,
appreciate it.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so thank you all for joining us. As usual, you're doing our regular Friday podcast, Friends with Benefit podcast, where we talk about everything entrepreneurship, financial literacy, health, real estate investing, investing in general. I mean, we talk about a lot of things here, and we have a lot of successful entrepreneurs, business owners come on the show and talk to us as well. A common theme is typically real estate investing because that's what Pansy and I got into this originally for. Um, it's kind of funny. It's just all roads lead back to real estate in some way. What, successful business owners, people, trying to limit their tax liability, like it just all leads back to real estate or owning physical assets, depreciable assets. And so it's just kind of interesting, but that's a lot of what we focus on. Today, we're going to talk about AI. I prefaced it, or I titled this show AI 101 because I do want to go over some of the basics of AI with folks, because I think there's a lot of people out there that either are afraid of it, don't understand it, are being told all kinds of stuff about it that may or may not be true. What I do know for sure is that it's not going anywhere. It is growing at a massive rate, which it can be a little scary. I mean, there's plenty of things with AI that can be, if you look into it, that can be a little intimidating, can be scary. There's going to have to be legislation at some point to govern the growth and the scale of AI. But either way, we're in a very interesting time to be alive right now with all of this. But regardless of all that, I'm not going to get political. Regardless of all of that, you can either, as a business owner, as an investor, you can either get on board with AI or you can watch yourself get bypassed very quickly by the people, your competition, or the people that are using it. Um, and it doesn't have to be anything crazy. I think most people, even for I don't know, what about you, Pansy? I know you're using it a little bit now. I think you start like most people start out with it, right? Like you're just kind of typing things, questions and things like that into ChatGPT and stuff like that. Like how are you using it right now, personally?
I've used it to try to find flights
Okay.
and just information. I don't know. Uh,
Yeah.
for the business, like
Hmm.
coming up with a business name and like steps. This is the
Hmm.
type of business that I'm
Hmm.
building.
Hmm.
What are some of the things I should, um, you know, look into? What am I going
Hmm.
to need type of thing?
Hmm.
And yeah, I've
I think
used.
you and I both, we looked at some legal documents together. We had AI go through, and this is some of the cool stuff you can do with AI. But we had some legal documents that, just some. Now you want to be careful. There were some basic legal documents, but we needed AI or used AI to read through those documents, help us understand what they were saying, help us summarize the main points. Real estate contracts, business JV agreements, things like that. You can run those things through AI, and have it basically summarize it and tell you, like, are there any red flags in there that we should be aware of, that we should look out for? What kind of questions should we ask if there are red flags in the contract? Super useful. But at the same time, you do really want to be careful, because if unless you are doing something like, and I don't want to get too deep in the weeds of it, but if you're unless you're doing something like self-hosting, which all that means is you're running the AI model on your local computer, and when you ask it a question, it's not, or give it a document, it's not storing or sending that stuff, onto the internet to look at it. You do have to be careful about the kind of legal documents that you're giving AI. There was actually this is kind of crazy. There was recent I don't know if it was legislation, but an attorney posted on Instagram that the client attorney privilege is nullified if you put any sensitive legal documents with your name or your attorney's name through AI, because AI is a public resource. And so the moment you do that, you have now just canceled client attorney privilege. So you do
Hmm,
have to be careful with that.
interesting.
Because what that means is now it's publicly searchable. It's publicly accessible by the people who know how to publicly search for that kind of stuff, right? So yeah, you really got to be careful. Regular contracts though, like if somebody just sends you a contract, if your name's not on it and you're just trying to run through whatever that contract is, or whatever it says, um, uh, AI is super useful for that, because it can really quickly run through. But we'll get, I would
Oh,
just say, yeah, I muted myself. I would just say, again, we're talking about artificial intelligence. We're talking about how Pansy and I specifically have leveraged it for our business, and what I'm
and
continuing
we've just barely like
scratch the
scratched
surface.
the
Oh
surface.
yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
so many things that are being done with it, and
Hmm.
I plan on utilizing more.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm more myself. I'm not so much interested in playing around with the AI as much.
Right.
I'd
Right.
rather just tell somebody who knows what the heck they're doing
I think
to.
a lot of people are like, and by the way, if you can do that, if you can, we talk about this trading, trading knowledge, trading skills, maybe you have a skill or something that you understand that somebody who understands AI better than you maybe needs. You guys can trade those skills, and you can leverage their knowledge in AI, and you can in turn give them value with whatever skill you have. So it doesn't always have to cost money, right? So if you can do that, absolutely take advantage of that. But just understand that if they set something up for you and you don't really understand it, or you don't understand how to manage it, you're going to have to get them back at some point if something breaks, right? Or if something isn't working right. So that's the drawback of that. But this stuff
I'm
is
okay with that.
okay. I mean, and if you're not technical, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm
You know
not
what
trying
I'm
to.
saying? Like we already
Yeah.
have people working with the AI, that we're
Hmm.
working with. So,
Hmm.
and that's what they want to do,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So
for sure.
if that's what they want to do, and we can work out an agreement, and they're good with that, and I'm good, then why not, right?
Yeah. So let's talk about a few things with AI, just from an AI beginner point of view, right? So what is AI, right? What even is it? What artificial intelligence at its core is a prediction engine. That's all it is. It's literally, I heard somebody put it like this, it's like glorified autocomplete, right? At least that's what it started out as. It was literally, it's just trying to predict what you want, right? So when we talk about AI, everybody knows AI for the most part. Everybody knows AI through ChatGPT. It's a search bar. You type a question and AI answers it for you. That's the most basic way that you can interface with AI. And that's how most people are doing it. But that's also barely even scratching the very, very, very top of the surface of what AI can do. Um, but that's where we get into prompting, right? So the first thing you do is you start asking AI questions. The next stage that you get into is learning how or the proper way to ask AI questions, right? And what that all really comes down to, I'm going to save you a ton of YouTube video watching right now. All that really comes down to prompting in general and asking AI questions. It all comes down to you having the clarity in your own brain of what you want the outcome to be. Whatever you're asked, whatever question you're asking AI, or whatever outcome you desire, you need to have kind of a clear visualization of what you're after. Even if it's a little
Well, at least somewhat, right? Because
or
it'll
yeah,
actually walk you through to get more information from you.
yeah, it will. But if you don't have clarity of even like the right way to ask the question,
Then you
AI
just keep trying.
well, AI will predict for you. It'll make guesses. That's where we get into hallucinations. Like you hear this all the time. AI hallucinates. Well, it's not really hallucinating. Like it is, I guess in a sense it is hallucinating because it'll pull random data or we've seen AI actually make stuff up before. But again, it's because at its core it's a prediction engine. It's just remember that it's glorified autocomplete. So the more clear you are on the way you are asking your question, the better results you're going to get.
Yeah.
So, for example, well, okay. So the number one mistake beginners make is they open up an AI tool and they type a vague question, right? They get a confused answer or they get maybe an answer that they weren't really expecting and then decide that AI doesn't work. That's or like AI is not all it's cracked up to be. The truth is AI is only as good as the instructions you give it. So you got to start thinking of AI like basically like a brand new employee who's incredibly smart, like a PhD level employee who knows everything about everything, but has zero idea what you do or what your business does or what you specifically want. So if you walk up to that employee and say, "Help me with my deals," they're gonna they're gonna stare at you, right? Or they're gonna give you some answer that's like vague. So, but if you say, I need, like, just an example, I need you to analyze this 4 unit rental property in California and tell me if it hits, my cash on cash return target of 18%. Now you've got something that's actually worthwhile, right? So again, you can see how just asking AI to, help me with this deal and giving it an address is going to get you one answer versus being a little bit more specific with AI and getting um, more articulate with your questions, right?
More detailed. Yes.
It's like anything in, garbage out, right? Clarity in, gold out. And that's how you got to start thinking about it. So before you type anything into like Claude's the new hotness, everybody's talking about Claude AI. If you follow AI at all, that's what people are talking about as of, April 10th, 2026. Claude's kind of the new thing because they've come up with a whole bunch of new features. They release things very quickly and there's some real power in some of the features that they've offered or that they've provided. But regardless, if you type anything into Claude or ChatGPT or whatever, um, grab a notepad or open up a note app on your computer and answer some questions to yourself. I mean, literally, this actually helped me, and I learned this going through the Google, not the Google training. There was a training course that I took a while back, but this actually really helped me. This takes about 2 minutes and saves you tons of time of frustrating, going through frustrating back and forth with AI. So here are the questions. What do you actually want? Like if you're going to get on now, am I expecting you to do this every single time you get on with AI or you go to ChatGPT? No, of course not. But you got to start thinking of it like this. So what do you actually want? Be specific. Um, you know, help with real estate is one thing, but analyze this duplex deal in California. Um, and tell me if it hits my cash on cash return of 18%. Those are two very different questions, right? So what do you actually want? Number two, this is actually a really important. Who should AI pretend to be? And once I figured this part out, it kind of changed. the game a little bit. And I don't know, do you do that at all, Pansy? When you're looking on AI, do you ever tell AI, hey, I want you to act like you're a professional real estate investor with 50 years of experience in the business? Do you
I
ever do
mean,
that?
I've asked similar types of um, things.
Hmm.
Um, I think when I asked something about business, I had a specific question, but I was like, something, I think I said something like, scour the internet and find me the top 10 best, business strategists. And, and then I asked my question, right? Or whatever.
Okay.
So something like that. Um,
So, okay.
you know, but
That's a good start.
yeah, I mean,
That's
I play
definitely a good
around with it. I
start.
know a little bit about AI prompts from listening to other people and reading other things. And
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
oops, sorry. I kind of get it though, like, um, how to instruct it a little bit, right?
Yeah. Which by
That's
the way, you're only going to get better. The more you use it, you're only going to get better with it. And you're
right.
going to start to realize that there's certain ways of asking or talking to AI that are going to get you dramatically better results. So and this was the big one. Who should AI pretend to be? What that actually means is what role are you telling AI to assume, right? So I can get on with ChatGPT and type role. I want you to be a real estate underwriter, a professional real estate underwriter with 50 years of experience or whatever, right? That's who I want you to be. That's who I want you to act like. So that gives AI its role and it gives it a whole new context or a whole new contextual um
I don't know.
place to start with,
I
right?
want to say that the word act like is
Yeah.
part of a problem in the prompt, though. Like
It
from reading other people's things and listening to
yeah.
them,
Yeah. Yeah, there's a right way to do that. Act like I've heard some people say you type act like this or that or this thing or that thing.
I've
And
heard, yeah.
I mean, some AI models will respond to that well, other AI models won't. And, good luck keeping up with it. There's so many AI models now that it would be very difficult to try and keep up with exactly which ones work best with what. But I promise you, you can ask AI to tell you, right? You can say, like, you can literally ask ChatGPT, I want you to, I want you to assume the role of an AI expert that has a deep understanding of all of the different AI models that are available to the public and answer any questions that I might have. Uh, you can take in any question and answer it clearly, concisely, with 100% accuracy. Whatever you can tell it that, right? And then ask it your AI question, like which AI models don't like it when you say act like, or and it'll literally go out and look for you. But again, there's so many different models. It's really difficult to keep up with all of it. So a good rule is, and I'll share my screen with you in a little bit. I've literally, just so you guys know, for those of you watching now or after the fact, I have put together a PDF document that is going to outline literally everything I'm talking about. So you don't need to worry about recording this. You don't need to worry about coming back through here and trying to take notes. I've literally put it all into a PDF document. And guess what I used to help create that document? Yes, you guessed it, AI. So, but anyways, and it made the process of creating this AI document or creating this document, it did it in 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes, like 2 minutes. So whereas I would have probably been spending an hour or more putting this together normally. So just as an example of what you can do with AI. But anyway, and I also used AI in part to help me come up with some of the different sections, but I ultimately spent the time writing it and coming up with the framework. So, and that's, if anything, that's kind of the most important thing is, like, again, you don't want AI to replace your brain. The talk that's been going around AI where, we become more and more dependent on it and sooner or later you stop thinking for yourself. Yeah, you don't want that. What you want AI to do is take those repeatable menial tasks that you're doing every day and make things easier, right? But you still want to maintain, some level of critical thinking for yourself. Obviously, I could argue that Google started doing that to us, early on anyways, but, it's just one of those things. Just understand again the right way to ask questions to AI, and you're going to get a better result. That's the bottom line. So again, let's review. What do you actually want? Be specific, right? Who do you want AI to be? So give it a role. Tell it what you want it to act like. Who you want it to assume the role of? A real estate investor, a mortgage broker, a property manager, whatever. So let's talk about number three. What are my limits or rules? So do you need do you need numbers only? Do you want AI to give you no fluff? Do you want to tell AI to not hold anything back? Do you have a specific, for example, for the real estate, do you have a specific return on investment, ROI criteria? So you want to tell your AI some specific constraints up front. That's what that's really talking about. What are my limits? So what role do you want it to take? Obviously, you want to be specific. What role do you want it to take? And what constraints are you going to give it? In other words, what limits are you going to give it? One of the constraints that I love, and I give you these prompts in this PDF, by the way. One of the constraints that I love to type is the no hallucination rule. So I tell AI, you are not allowed to hallucinate anything. If you can't find what you need from open web search or via the context that I give you, then you are to respond with exactly, I don't know. And what that does is it gives AI the permission it needs to not make guesses. So you're literally telling AI, if you don't know the answer, you can't find the answer to my specific question, you need to tell me I don't know. You're not allowed to just make something up. So that's a really powerful one, and that'll ensure that when you are asking your questions, that AI is doing its job and giving you accurate, verifiable, and relevant information. The other thing I tell AI to do is I say, okay, you're not allowed to hallucinate. If you don't know it, say, I don't know. And you're not allowed to assume anything. But then also I tell it, you are only going to use the most up-to-date, relevant, and accurate documentation and sources available. And then you're going to cross-reference all documentation and sources to ensure you're only giving me the most accurate information possible. That's another powerful one. So all right, so we know be specific, give it a role, give it constraints. The next thing is what format do I want my answer to be in? And by the way, when I'm doing this stuff and I'm typing these prompts out, I only do this once. I don't type this out every single time. And there's multiple ways you can go about doing this. I keep a Google Doc, and every great prompt that either I write or I find, I save in that Google Doc so I don't have to remember it and I don't have to type it every time. I can literally just copy and paste it if I want to. So that's another little tip I'm going to give you guys. But so what format do I want the answer to be in? Do I want my answer to be given me like bullet list format? Do I want it to be just a numbered list? Do I want it to be in a summary paragraph? Do I want it to be in a spreadsheet format? You can tell it what format you want. And then finally, um, what instructions are you going to give AI? Like I know we've kind of already been giving it instructions, but when I say actually it's more like context. So what additional knowledge are you going to give AI? So let me review this one more time. So you be specific. What do you want AI to pretend to be? What role do you want it to give it? What constraints or what limits do you want it to what rules or boundaries do you want to give it? What format do you want your answer in? Like bullet list, table, whatever. And then what additional knowledge or context do you want AI to have? One of the things that I do a lot is I will upload documents. Like for example, with business funding, I a lot of times will have questions about certain strategies with business funding. Um, and I have a lot of documents that I've collected over the last few years in learning business about business funding and personal credit and all that. So I'll upload whatever relevant documents I may have, so that AI can look at it. And all you're doing is you're cutting down the time that it's going to take AI to do the research. You're literally feeding its brain for it, and it's also going to help AI give you a lot better answers to your questions. And you can see this on ChatGPT. There's a little plus button, and I'll share my screen here in a minute, and we can do some examples. But there's a little plus button on the on the search bar, and you click it and it'll say upload documents, right? That's all that is. You can do this in just about every AI platform out there. So don't the tip that I would give you is don't skip this part. I know it sounds a little bit tedious, but I promise you do it a few times and you save your prompts in a doc so you don't have to constantly type it out every time. It's going to save you a ton of time and you're going to get way better answers. If you do this, AI can work really, really well and can be actually pretty accurate. I would actually say very accurate now with some of the new models that are out there. But anyway, so we talked about a prompt, right? Um, and again, this is what there's so much about this out there right now that I feel like I'm not really giving you guys a whole lot more than what's already out there. If you literally go on YouTube or go on Instagram, there's people posting new stuff about Claude, about ChatGPT all the time. New prompts, new techniques, new tricks, hacks, whatever you want to call it. So, but if you don't understand some of this basic information, some of these the basic framework around AI, it's gonna it can be very confusing, right? And it could be a lot. So again, we're talking about prompting. What is a prompt? It's simply a message or an instruction that you type into an AI tool. That's all it is. So when you hear the word prompting AI or you hear prompt engineer, we're talking about writing instructions, giving AI instructions, which is a little different than asking a question. Asking a question is part of it, but it's a little bit different. You're literally you're instructing AI how to behave and instructing AI on what you want the result to be, right? So just like sending a text message, but instead of texting a friend, you're texting a super intelligent assistant, artificial assistant that knows about real estate finance, for example, contracts, marketing, almost anything else, right? A bad prompt, in short, is a vague, sort of foggy request question. A great prompt is specific and includes context. It assigns a role and tells AI exactly what you want back. So, and in my document here, I actually give you some breakdowns of that, right? Let me share my screen because I feel like I'm a very visual person, so I like seeing stuff in live in real time. And one of the things that ticks me off a lot about the people posting AI content is that they don't actually show you like what they're doing, right? So at least a lot of times they don't show you what they're doing. So I'll share my screen. And by the way, Pansy, if you have questions for me or like, we've got a guest on the show. If you have questions for me, raise your hand and we can talk about it.
Okay. I just got myself muted because my
Mhm.
family's here.
Oh, okay.
Like my daughter and my
All right. Oh, did we get somebody else just jump in? Okay. So this kind of breaks down a prompt. What is a prompt? But you can get an idea, right? So right here, this is a weak prompt, right? Is this a good deal? Tell me about rentals, right? Really vague, very just it could mean anything, and AI is going to probably go out and make a bunch of guesses. Right here, strong prompt. You are an expert real estate underwriter, and you analyze this duplex deal for a purchase price of 180,000, rents for two, right? See how detailed you're getting with what you're asking AI to do. Again, you are a property manager with 20 years of experience in Memphis, Tennessee market. What are the top three neighborhoods for cash flowing single family rentals under 150,000? Give me average rents. Like look at how much more detailed that is. You're going to get a much better answer from AI going through that. So let me show you what this looks like in ChatGPT really quick. I use ChatGPT a lot. I'm actually switching between ChatGPT and Claude a lot lately. Um, but I've been using ChatGPT. So let's go to a new chat. So let's pretend I want to have ChatGPT become a professional multifamily real estate underwriter. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go roll. I'm going to tell it to roll. So I usually do it all caps like that, just so there's no guessing. And again, if you're not sure the format to use, you can always ask it. Or better yet, I'm going to give you another a hack in here that some people may already know about, but that will help you guys speed up your prompting exponentially. But this is how I start. I say, roll. You you are an expert multifamily real estate underwriter with 50 years of experience. You have a deep understanding of market conditions and the math behind multifamily. That's actually one word, multifamily real estate. Um, uh, you can take in any property or underwriting task and produce uh concise, accurate, easy to read, easy to read. How did I do this the last time? Easy to read, full underwriting uh breakdowns, underwriting analysis reports. Let's just say reports. I don't like breakdowns. You can take in any property and underwrite or underwriting task and produce concise, accurate, and easy to read full underwriting analysis reports. Constraints. This is my favorite thing to do. This is why I type all the time, by the way. You do not hallucinate anything. If you can't find what you need via context or via open web search, you will respond with exactly, I don't know. You do not assume anything. You will only use the most relevant, accurate, and up-to-date documentation and sources. You will cross-reference all sources to ensure, actually sources and documentation to ensure you are only providing the most accurate information possible. I keep using the word accurate because I want to emphasize I want this AI to give me accurate results. So you can see how many times I'm using that word, right? Constraints. So, and that's honestly, for me, this right here is enough. I know we talked about role, constraints, context, right? All of that. If I want to add context to this, this is what's cool about most AI platforms. I can click on this little plus button right here and I click add photos and files. I'll literally give one of the things I like to do if I'm making an underwriter, if I want AI to act like an underwriter, I will add the calculators that I have. I have like two or three really good multifamily underwriting calculators. And all that's going to do is tell AI, is give AI a little bit more knowledge, right? And give me some accurate outputs, right? And so I'll hit enter and watch what it'll do. It's gonna think for a minute and then it's gonna give me some output. Okay, understood. I'll treat multifamily underwriting the way an experienced acquisition analyst with grounded in actual numbers, current market data, and verified sources, and no guesswork. Beautiful. Okay, so real quick, touching up on the various different models that you can use in AI, whether it's ChatGPT or Claude or whatever. All of the newest AI models now use something called thinking or you'll see this mentioned, or you'll see this a lot of times in ChatGPT. You see how it says thinking down here? Um, let's do this. You can see by default, the model I'm using for ChatGPT. So on the top left here allows you to choose which specific model you want to use. So instant is very fast. It's meant for very quick, if you want very quick answers with not a lot of additional thinking logic behind the answer. This is good for, again, just quick answers to questions, simple questions. You don't want to be using instant if you need to have AI go through complex calculations, like for example, underwriting. I'm going to let it stay on thinking. What does thinking even mean? Without getting too much into the weeds, no matter what AI platform you're using, if you see thinking or deep research is another way that this is said, is they're talking about tree of logic, um, uh, tree of logic thinking, basically. So, and what does that mean? It means it's if you ask it a question, it's going to go out and it's going to find, it's going to go do three different rounds or maybe four different rounds. And I'm kind of butchering this a little bit, but it's going to go do a number of different rounds of research. So maybe it'll go out and do and look for only the most accurate information possible. Like for example, for let's say I ask AI to go do market research on Jacksonville, Florida. Give me a full market research analysis for Jacksonville, Florida. Well, it's going to go out and it's going to gather as much information on Jacksonville, Florida as it possibly can. And then it's going to run an analysis on that. And it's going to say, okay, well, what's all the most important and most accurate information on Jacksonville, Florida. Then it's going to do another round and maybe it's going to look at, well, what's only the most important information for crime rate, right? Or what's uh what's uh what's the most data we can find and the most accurate data we can find, then what's the quickest data we can find, and what is the most efficient data we can find. It's going to do all three stages of analysis, and then it's going to look at all three stages of analysis and decide of all three what's the best uh, batch of data that we have, and it's going to provide you that output. So just think of it like it's doing multi stages of analysis on whatever subject you're giving it, and it's finding the best based on they call it the golden path, right? So it looks at the data in three different very specific or four different very specific ways, and then it finds the best result out of all of those, right? And gives you that result. So that's what the new thinking models are doing from a very high level. And I butchered that a little bit, but that's essentially what they're doing. So when you choose thinking, you're getting AI to do a lot more analysis on it. It's going to cost you, as you scale in business, if you actually integrate AI with your business to automate things, for example, to build agents, which is what everybody's, that's when you get into AI, the agent building thing is where it really starts to take off and where it really starts to take all of those repeatable tasks that you have in your business and start doing those things for you so you can free up your time. That's the real power of AI. One of the real powers of AI. That using thinking models for stuff like that will cost you tokens. They charge you in tokens, right? So, and I'm not going to get into too much of that just yet. You can research it, but essentially, the more of those calculations AI has to do for those tasks that it's doing, it starts to cost at scale, right? Doing, going through your email and reading through your email and deleting all of the junk email and then sending you a report of maybe all the properties you got in your email that day, and doing that once a day, that's nothing, right? But when we start talking about that at scale, when you have hundreds of employees and it's doing that for all of them, now it starts to really add up. So that's how you kind of have to think of it. Just know that one is in this case they've simplified it way down. One is instant. Obviously, the name is instant, but the non-thinking models are going to be faster. They're going to be just for simple tasks, simple questions, and then the thinking models obviously are for more complex stuff. That's the breakdown of that. So what I did in ChatGPT, and I'll share this with you guys. What I like to do is I like to create actual GPTs over here, and you'll hear people talk about that. But in order to build these things, I wasn't an expert at this stuff. Like I honestly, I had no clue what I was doing in the beginning. So what did I do? I came into ChatGPT and I said, I gave it a role. You are a chat GPT expert and strategist. You you understand all of the various settings, configurations, options, utilities, whatever you can think of. Just honestly, just do a brain dump. Utilities, um, troubleshooting, troubleshooting steps, and I'm misspelling because I'm trying to go fast here, but utilities, troubleshooting steps, recommendations, etc., at a very deep level. You you can take in any request, question, concern, and provide concise, easy to understand, step by step instructions, options, answers, etc. Right? So, and again, I'm just doing this really quickly. If you have time to sit there and kind of think this out a little bit, you can probably get a little bit better results than I'm about to get right now. But you're a chat GPT. I'm telling you that you're a chat GPT expert. You are also an expert at creating GPTs and projects within Chat GPT, right? And then constraints, I do the same thing again, and I'm not going to rewrite this again. I'm just going to copy it. I'm going to paste it in here, right? You do not hallucinate anything, blah, 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 blah. So now that I've told it what I want it to do again, right? Now I'm going to ask it, I want to create the ultimate, most effective chat GPT underwriter ever created. I want it to be the accurate underwriting, uh, most accurate real estate, multi, actually, let's be a little bit more concise about this. Most accurate multi-family and single family real estate underwriter, single family real estate underwriter GPT. Um, I want it to be the most accurate multifamily, single family real estate underwriter, and it should provide full and complete underwriting analysis reports for any property that is given. Analysis. Analysis reports for any property that is given. Um, all reports should be concise, easy to read, and accurate as possible. Um, this GPT should offer common sense advice if a property appears to be a bad deal. Um, this GPT should also provide creative finance options for deals that look like they may work better with a creative structure. Um, and just wait here. And again, all I'm doing here is just, you know, stream of consciousness. I'm literally just typing whatever's coming to my head right now, and I'm trying to be as um precise as I can be, but it doesn't really, don't worry too much about it. Just start typing and start thinking to yourself what you want this thing to actually do, right? Creative finance options for deals that look like they may work better with creative structure. Um, and I want this GPT to uh I think that's actually probably good for right now. Let's just leave it at that without going too deep into this. Advisor appears to be a bad deal. A deal should also provide creative finance options. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. That's probably good enough. Um, please, now I'm gonna tell it what the last thing I want. Please give me a prompt or instructions that I can use to build this exact GPT. Um, Also give me step by step instructions on how to set this all up as I am a total beginner. Let's see what it gives me. Okay, for your use case, look at this. It's literally giving me step-by-step instructions on how to build it. And let's see if it actually generates the prompt. Oh yeah, here it goes. Add this short description. Use accurate. Use the full instruction block wrote below. Okay, use accurate. So this is the first description. So let's look at this really quick on how you'd actually build a GPT. And I'm not going to spend very much more time on this. I just wanted to give this to you because, again, I get ticked off because people don't show this stuff. They don't actually show you how to do it. So what I do is I go right here. You can see all these different GPTs, and if you ask what is a GPT, it's literally sort of like a pseudo agent. It's a recurring chat that is very good at whatever instructions you give it. It's very good at a specific thing, and you can constantly go in and ask it questions without having to retype, the context, the role, and all that stuff. It just memorizes it, knows what it's supposed to do, and it remembers all of the chats that it's every time you chat in it, it's learning. So it's literally growing and getting better and better and better the more questions you ask it. So it's just think of it as individual robots that do one or two things really, really well, and every time you ask it a question, it gets smarter. That's what a GPT is. So I'm going to go into explore GPTs, and then I'm going to go create a GPT. And you can see here, I've got all these, just like, oh my God, what is all this? I don't know how to fill all this out. Well, that's why we just asked AI to do it for us. So add this short description. So here's a clear name. So it gives me a name for it. So I'm going to go over here and paste this into the name. Paste. I'm going to put this description in right here under description, paste. And then it tells me use the full instruction block I wrote below in the instruction field. Right here. Boom. Copy that, paste it in the instruction field. And then you can see here, each GPT has these little conversation starters. These are optional. You don't have to put these in. These are just example questions that you can create here that people can ask. You can even ask it right here. Here we go. Recommended conversation starters. Underwrite this property conservatively. You just paste a couple of these in. You don't got to use all of them. I usually only put like one or two in here. Boom. Couple of conversation starters. And then right here it says, see how it says knowledge? This is that context we were talking about. You upload files. If you have, for me, if I'm creating an underwriter, I'm going to upload some of my calculators that I may have collected over the years. Upload those files. I think it only gives you a certain number that you can upload here. So there's a limit. And then right here, recommended model, just use, I always stick with the most recent version of the thinking model for most of these, right? So you can even ask ChatGPT here, what's the best model I should use? What is the best chat GPT model I should use for this specific GPT? And it'll tell you to let it think for a second. Now, while it's doing that, um, right here, recommended model. Again, when in doubt, just use the most current version of the thinking model. For most of these GPTs, if you're going to actually spend the time to build some of these for yourself, um, you know, you're going to usually want more complex thinking or analysis done. So I would just stick with the thinking model. But if you're not sure what any of these things are, again, this is the beauty of AI. Just ask AI what it is. What is this thing? What does it do? Why is it, what's different? What makes it different than the instant model? And should I use it for this? And it'll tell you, right? So now, boom, I've got this GPT configured. It took me all of about 5 minutes. You can see these instructions here that it created for me. I didn't spend the time creating this. It literally created this for me. You can see this is pretty in depth, right? And so I'm just going to click create up here on the top right. And right here, you can say, do you want only you to be able to see this GPT, or do you want to be able to share it with people, anyone with the link, or do you want it to go into the GPT store? If you put it into the GPT store, I think there is a way to monetize, I believe, but you do have to, it's got to pass some scrutiny before they just put it into the store. So just know that the GPT store thing is going to ask you to, it's going to scrutinize your GPT a little bit. So I just leave it on anyone with the link, hit save. And right here it says view GPT. You can click on this link, but you can also get to it another way. I'll click on view GPT for now, right here on this little button that popped up, and it'll open it for you here in a new window. But you can also just go right back here on, if I were to go back to this old screen that I had open, you can just click on explore GPTs, go to my GPTs up in the top right, and you'll see right here, multifamily creative finance underwriter GPT, right here, the one I just created. And you can click it and it'll open it up for you. All right. So now let's see how good this does. I'm going to stop sharing my screen just for a second. I have a couple of example multifamily properties. We can run it through this and see what it does. See how good of a job it does. So bear with me just a second. This is what's crazy about this. It's like, now am I saying like, okay, I'm going to create this GPT and then run properties through it and let AI underwrite my properties and just trust that that underwriting is 100% accurate? No, I'm not going to. But I am definitely going to use it for my first stage, right, of underwriting and see what we're dealing with and see if we should even continue on looking at this anymore. Ultimately, you're still going to need to kind of scrutinize what you're getting back from AI. You're still going to need to do your own due diligence. So don't just assume because it's AI that it's 100% accurate on the underwriting. You still want to, like, if you're serious about buying this multifamily property, you're going to want to go back through it. That's what I'm trying to say. So let's do this. I'm going to grab one of our old properties here. Let's see. All right. I'm going to download these files really quick because obviously, most of the time when you're looking at a multifamily deal, specifically the broker, well, the seller should provide financials, but the broker should be providing you with a broker package, and that broker package should include some financial details, right? It should include, for example, a rent roll, a profit and loss statement, ideally, a T12. And if you don't know what a T12 is, it just means trailing 12 months of um, income and expenses. So, and capital expenditures. So either way, the broker should provide you with these financial documents. So that's what I do. I go, okay, here's the address. I'm going to bring up, share my screen here in a second. So I'm going to say, please do a full underwriting for the multifamily property located at 304 Forest Knoxville, Tennessee. And I'll just say I have attached all of the financial documents that we were provided. And I'm going to click the plus. I'm going to add photos and files. Where's it? Drive, download. Boom. I'm going to just literally, I'm going to include the offering memorandum, the rent roll, the T12 doc, and there's another Forestdale. I think was that the under. Oh, I'm not going to include that. That was my underwriting. I'm going to include these three documents here. Those are the financials we got from the broker. So you see what it does? It attaches them. But you're starting to get a feel for this, how powerful this can be. And again, I created a GPT, so now all I have to do is come back into ChatGPT and do my multifamily, just click on my multifamily underwriter GPT and paste in a property. And it already knows what it needs to do. It already knows what role you want it to be. It already knows all of that. And so it'll just, and every time I have it underwrite a property, it's going to get better and better and better at what it does. Um, the other cool thing about this is I can share this with people. So I can click here, I can click copy link, and I can share this underwriter with you guys. In fact, I will share this underwriter with you guys because you guys can go and train this thing. So for those of you who are actually live on the podcast with us, I'll give you this link. And for those of you watching after the fact, too bad, so sad. I'm just kidding. I'll put it in the description. But yeah, use it and let it do some work for you. And by the way, I can't, if you guys are using this GPT, I can't see the properties. I'm not going to be like looking at the properties that you guys are uploading. I can't see that stuff. And by the way, the 5.4 model, once you're done with your chat, once you delete it and you're done with your chat, that data gets deleted from OpenAI. So it's not storing this stuff. Um, but it is hanging on to context. It is hanging on to it's trying to learn and get better every time. Um, so did it finish? It did. Okay, now I'm gonna hit go, and you can see it shows you the two files up here. This is actually kind of new, this format here, but we'll let it chew on this for a second. I want to go back into our document. So that's ChatGPT. Claude has something very similar. If you guys are using Claude, it uses projects and all that stuff, but I'm not going to get into that with Claude. Here's the cool thing about this document. I created this for you guys to go through and to read and to have your own have access to a lot of the prompts that I use and just save this document. In fact, save it up in your Google Drive and start your own prompt database with the stuff that's in here. But this PDF walks through everything I talked about today on the Zoom on the podcast and literally kind of breaks it down for you as simply as I could make it. There's some pieces in here. There's actually a couple of areas that I'm fixing up. So this will be ready. By the time the edited version of this video is online, a link to this PDF will be on there. So don't worry. You guys all get a copy of this. But you can see here, real estate use cases, all of my prompts that I talked about, building. Oh yeah, this is something we didn't get a chance to talk about, Pansy, was building our buy box. Um, and you can see how it kind of got all muddied up a little bit. So I'm fixing this. But building our buy box was something that Pansy and I spent some time doing. And AI was able to help us focus our efforts at creating that buy box and help us do market research to help us really start to hone in on a few locations that we wanted to start in. And obviously you build your buy box, you're not just going to like tell AI build my buy box. You build your buy box or your buy criteria as an investor over time and learning different markets and learning about like what you actually want, right? But AI can definitely help you to do that, to kind of hone in and tune your thoughts a little bit on how you're building your buy box. It'll ask you questions and make you think, right? Oh, maybe I should if I'm looking for a co-living property, maybe it should be 12 to 1300 square feet or bigger. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to add very many bedrooms, right? Or maybe I should just look in these zip codes for multifamily because the median household income is above 50,000 and there's a certain class of tenant there and there's value add opportunities. Whatever it is, but you do it over time. But AI can help you develop that. Um, and again, this walks through all of it. So I just wanted to share that. Let's see what output we got from our GPT. Here's the conservative underwriting for Forest Hill. So it gives me an executive summary, tells us the 3.85 million asking price. The deal is not terrible on paper, but is thin in place and likely too tight for conventional debt unless the lender gives credit for the rent upside. Really, this is what I love about it will give you these little points like this based on what it sees in the documents that you give it or based on the data that you give it. Um, Stuff that you may have not thought about, right? So here you go. The good news is the rent upside appears to be real. The OM shows current average rent of 980 per unit and lease comps around 1149 to 1199 for one bedroom units, while the OM's pro forma uses 1150 per unit. So the problem is debt coverage using your stated underwriting convention of roughly 7.25% interest and 25-year amortization and typical 75%. And by the way, I didn't do that. I didn't say using your stated underwriting convention. I didn't come up with that underwriting convention. AI did. I just told it I wanted a super effective underwriter, and it came up with this criteria. So think about that. But this again, 75%, 7.25 interest rate, 25-year amortization is your average DSCR loan right now, right? And typically 75% loan to value. So it's going off just standards right now, right? I didn't tell it to do any of this stuff, but it did it. It knew to do it. Then it gives me a deal snapshot, right? Verified inputs, right? You can go through this. You can see underwriting calculator. Let's get to the meat of this. Should I buy this thing or not, right? So it gives me in place underwriting, my debt test, right? My DSCR analyzation, right? Risk, thin in place DSCR at asking price. This does not comfortably work for normal agency or bank debt. And you can see they give you the DSCR. DSCR is about 1.23. So for those of you who understand debt service coverage ratio, most DSCR lenders for multifamily, if not all, are going to want you to be at 1.25 or better. So that doesn't make our criteria. That's the first red flag, right? And then it gives me some creative finance restructuring options here, which is really cool. Like, wow, okay. So at a price closer to 3.25 or 3.35, make the in-place debt coverage much more workable. So let's see. Most realistic structure, price reduction, obviously, but seller carry and carry back in second. Let the senior debt size to in-place NOI. Seller carries the gap for 2 to 3 years, right? So it's giving you some ideas here for creative structure. Interest only period, you can say we'll pay interest only for a number of years, whatever. Final verdict. At 3.85, this is not a strong conventional buy on in place numbers. Why? The cap rate is acceptable, coverage is weak. The deal seems to depend on executing the rent upside before it really works. The expenses look too lean. In other words, the expenses the seller or the broker is giving you is probably not accurate. It's probably the expenses are probably going to be higher than this. It's close, not broken, but the current basis leaves little room for error. So my honest call is possible deal with negotiation or only works with better structure if seller won't move on price. And then it gives you some recommended next steps. And again, this took me how many minutes? All I had to do was upload a couple of files and it did a full executive summary for me on the deal. Obviously, if I was serious about this deal and really wanted to pursue it, I would just kind of run through these numbers and just kind of verify these numbers are correct, right? And that's it. So, anyways, if you guys have any questions, now's the time to ask. Otherwise, we've gone about an hour and yeah, I appreciate all of you. So how you doing, Pam? Welcome back, Pansy.
I was here.
Where are you?
I
Okay.
just why do I need my camera on if we're sharing the screen.
Well, I'm a little, so I didn't really go over too much about how we discovered or how we went and built our buy box, but there was a little bit of AI involved with that. And I think based on what I just taught in this, you guys can go and ask AI to kind of help you with that if you really need help.
Yeah, I think we
But
used AI more for the market research,
mhm,
like,
mhm.
but we already had kind of an idea of,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
the area
yeah,
and stuff, but
yeah,
to tweak it better and
yeah.
whatnot.
And by the way, for those of you listening, like on the audio podcast, I know I was doing a share screen and I was trying to do my best to kind of describe what I was doing, but the PDF file of everything I talked about, including prompts and all that stuff, you guys, I'll have access to that too. There's a link to the YouTube channel, so just go find the video on YouTube and you'll see the download link there. So, um, but yeah, this is all like again, it's all about just leverage AI. If you have a question, you don't understand something, ask AI about it. Tell AI you want it to be an expert in whatever thing you're trying to ask it about. And if you don't know how to write prompts, ask AI to write prompts for you. Like, hey, I need the perfect prompt so that AI can help me answer how um, how to fix my washer dryer uh, you know, hook up in my, in my house, whatever. Like I'm just spitballing here, but you know what I'm saying. Ask it to become a prompting expert. This is what I did. I literally created a GPT and its sole purpose in life is to help me build prompts. That's it. Like I say, hey, look, I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to find out this answer about this XYZ thing. Build me the perfect prompt for this.
Well,
By the way,
Jennifer in the background here, she said
mhm,
she was building her website today using
mhm.
AI. I mean, there's
Yeah,
a lot of things you can
yep,
do.
yep,
I think it's great. Like I said, I'm not too fond of using it. I
yep.
I mean, but I prefer not to be on the computer for the most part. Like,
I know you do. That's good. Well, and look, this is this going to be for every single person that watches this or listens to this? Is going to be for everybody? No, but I would say again, get
you're gonna have to
comfortable.
implement. You're
You're
gonna have to implement it most
yeah,
likely.
you're not
And
going to get away from it. It's not going anywhere. And the more comfortable now you get with it, the better off you're going to be. And honestly, the more streamlined you can make your business. And what Jennifer's talking about, helping her build her website, like that's getting into the more advanced stuff, but literally you can create AI agents now that will spin up websites for you in 5 minutes. You know what I'm
yep,
saying? You just got to tell it what kind of a website you want it to build and it'll do it for you. So, in fact, one of our friends, Christian, has built out an entire website hosting system and CRM system, all from asking a literally. He's one of the least developer coding types out there. Like he's not he's intelligent, but he's not a developer. He has no code. He doesn't code. He doesn't do like Python or doesn't do any of that stuff. But he had AI literally build this whole thing for him. It's freaking bananas. It's bananas. And he's making money with it. Okay. He's
that's good.
making money with it. And so again, it's all depends on how deep you want to get with it. But I would suggest, go to YouTube University for a little bit. Just get comfortable prompting it first. Just mess with it. All you're doing is having conversations with it. That's it at first, right? So that's how I started with it. Anyways, guys, it's 6. We're a little over, but I appreciate everybody who is here who joined us tonight. Thank you, Kathleen and Jennifer, for
Yeah,
joining
if you want
us.
to stick around for a minute.
Yeah,
Um,
we'll hang out for a little bit
Sure.
after like we normally do, but
Thank,
yeah,
thanks for the invite too. I've enjoyed being here and I've learned something new too. Thank you.
awesome.
awesome.
Thanks.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you guys. We'll go ahead and end it, but have a blessed weekend, day, night, evening, whatever, and we will see you again next week.
Happy birthday again.
See you guys.
Happy birthday to
Thank you.
you. Happy birthday to you. Happy
Thanks,
birthday,
guys.
dear Justin. Happy birthday to you. That's my present. Yeah.
Ah, thank you, Kathleen. Awesome. All right, guys. We'll see you later.